Welcome back, Lions Den, Premier College Football. Y'all know what it is. I got the dogs with me today. We got Texas TV, we got Sir Tokes, and we got Mr. Unbiased Commentary himself, D'Armond, joining us tonight, the Tailgate Quarterly Show. Tonight, very special night. To be our first time giving you guys a live look in at what's going on in the Premier College Football League through the first, 4 or 5 weeks of the season. We're calling it a quarter. Everybody has played now 3, 4, 5 games. Really, it's about a third of the season. But either way, glad to have y'all tapped in tonight. So let's get right into it. We got a couple of dope topics we're going to talk about. And, we're going to get the opinions of our guest panelists tonight. Once again, Texas TV, the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Coach Prime, Sir Tox, head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, and then Mr. Non-Biased Commentary, a big LSU fan, Mr. Big Cat D'Armond, my dog. So I'm glad to have y'all here. Let's get right into it. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Cool. First topic of the night, top 25. We got the screen going.
Yeah, it's here.
All right, here we go. Top 25, as you can see, the number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Now, that's the computer. We did have a user, but he never joined. So, Georgia Bulldogs right now is the computer, and they having their way with people. 57-27 win, as you can see, over Alabama last week, and they just finished off the Auburn Tigers in a very, very lopsided game down in Athens. Shout out to the coach, Sharp Natick of the Auburn Tigers. He went out there and gave it his best, but the Bulldogs is too much. Ranked number 2, Texas. We got Mr. Texas TV in the building right now. We'll get to him in a moment. But Texas TV got the Texas Longhorns ranked number 2. Last week came off of a very, very big win at home, and they had to survive. Mississippi State. Very, very tough game for them. A game in which they led 28-6. They were up comfortably. Probably got a little happy, but they held on. They 5-0. Ranked number 3, Ole Miss. That's Uncle Sam's reject. Y'all know him. He one of the GOATs. Currently sitting at 5-0. Another big win for him last week as he took on the Kentucky Wildcats. He won that game by a couple touchdowns. And his next game, against South Carolina this week, and that should be a win for them because the South Carolina coach is not available to play that game. Number 4, yours truly, the Ohio State is different in that thing. Y'all already know that, though. We sitting at 5-0. Big win over Michigan State last week, and we won last night. At home, it was homecoming against the Iowa Hawkeyes, 60-13 victory. We moved to 6-0 in the season. The Buckeyes are flying high. At number 5, you got Penn State sitting there at 5-0, playing good ball with a big win over Illinois last week. They got UCLA this week, undefeated as well. And our last undefeated team in the top 10, Tennessee Vols. That's Coach Novocaine out there doing what he got to do out there in where's Tennessee play at? Knoxville. Yeah. Anyway, so. The first team with a loss in the top 10 is Oregon. Currently 2-1, ranked number 7. Big win over UCLA last week. Looked like they got Michigan State coming up next. Florida State ranked coming in number 8. Notre Dame number 9. To round out the top 10 is NC State. That's a computer team. So as you can see, we got 8 users in the top 10. It's making for a very, very fun playoff conversation. Number 11, you got Georgia Tech in there. Then you got the Michigan Wolverines, Coach Ambell Jr. and his Wolverines sitting there at number 12. They got a good win over Minnesota last week, and they already defeated the Washington Huskies this week, 31-17. Now, as you can see, number 13, Texas Tech sitting there at 5-0. That's a computer team in the Big 12. So we need somebody in the Big 12 to take care of Texas Tech, or else they might run away with this thing. Arizona sitting there at 2-2, kind of a fluky team. And then we don't have any other users until you get down to number 19. That's Coach Clay TV, Alabama. Let me see who else we got. 49er George, surprising a lot of people. Got USC sitting real good at 3-1. They got Minnesota coming up. And that'll round out our top 20 in terms of the users. And then we got a bunch of computer teams. I'm not really concerned about them right now. But D'Armond, give us an idea. Give me your opinion on what's going on with this top 25 of the users in the league.
I like the top 25. I'll say Georgia. I know we're focusing on the users, but Georgia is very dangerous for any user that they're playing. Guaranteed, I'd say pretty much for the playoffs right now. I like Texas at number 2. Champ up there. Shout out to Champ. He's nice on the sticks, man. He's good. He's going to get his game going. He's good. Me personally, right now, unbiased, it's different in the den. I would have Ohio State at number 2. followed by, the number 3 team that's right there right now. I moved Texas down to number 4. Nothing personal, champ. But I like Ole Miss right there. Good top 5. And I have to move. This may be a surprise to anybody who watched the first show. I have to move Florida State to number 5 to round out my top 5.
Okay. You know what? I'm new to all this. And based on what I see, the top 5 seems legit. I mean, take out the Georgia Bulldogs, was again is a CPU team, but again, we saw what they could do as a CPU team, so they definitely deserve where they are. But everything else, from Texas, Ole Miss, Ohio State, and Penn State, rounded out with Tennessee, that looks like a solid top 5 in this league. But again, it's still early, and there's guys underneath there that are going to be clawing for those guys up there. So look for these numbers to change before our next show. And a big change, again, big change is coming halfway through. Guaranteed.
Well, I guess I'm last. So I'm fine with Georgia being at number 1. That's what we just saw them do to Auburn. They probably can do that to most of us this year. I think at number 2, I would actually have Ole Miss. He has more user wins. And look what he did at Kentucky. They're no bums. He beat them by 20. So, I mean, I don't mind him at 2. Ohio State, I could take him at 3. Willie beating up on poor hapless Iowa and their non-offense existing, on homecoming. Y'all pick the JV to put on there. Good schedule. I'd probably put Texas at 4. I would actually put Tennessee at 5 because of the user game he won. He won a user game week 1. He won another one against Oklahoma. And I'm just sorry. He's in the SEC. I'm biased. I go Penn State at 6. I'll put Florida State at 7. And I wouldn't have a problem putting them at 6. I think King Sinai, as he continues to win, I said this on the show earlier, he's getting more confident. He's making reads, and that team is skilled. Everything else I'm fine with, Well, actually, you know what? I think Georgia Tech should be a little bit higher. They technically did beat Florida State week 1, kind of handily. So I'd probably put them at 7, 8. I wouldn't have Zeus there. That win against UCLA was a sim win, so we don't know if he would actually beat them. CPU games have been tight. Yeah, these CPU games have been tight, so I don't know. He had to go to, Oregon traveling to Cali, that could have been a loss. So that's my top 8. I'm fine with everything else. I'm really amazed by Texas Tech. I didn't see that. I might have to put them on my schedule next year so I could. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of games coming up. This is going to change by week 8. This will be drastically different.
And I think that's a good conversation, y'all. Good to hear everybody's opinion on the top 25. And listen, Champ, you can probably attest to this. This is probably right now the most competitive this league has ever been. It is unreal in terms. I mean, you see the top 10, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 undefeated user teams. And that's that's 5, 10, 15, and 8. That's 23-0 combined for 5 different teams. Texas, Ole Miss, Ohio State, Penn State, Tennessee. And that is not a knock against anyone else because there's still some other players in this league who can play, right? Oregon is good. Florida State 5-1, and he might be the hottest team in the league. One time, Wyatt, Notre Dame, they 3-2, sitting good. Michigan 4-2. We know Ambell Jr. He done played in Madden competitions. He's not a bum, right? We got some really good players. USC 3-1 with a win over Ambell. That's big. Coach Clay TV, he 2-2. Like, we got some really good players in this league who aren't undefeated. And it just goes to show how strong the league is from top to bottom. There's a lot of talent here. This is going to be the most fantastic season we've ever had in this league. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to the next topic, which is the Heisman race. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. And looking here at the Heisman race, let's take a look at the top 5. First, we got Trey Moore, junior defensive end out of Texas, who's having a big year. Walter Nolan, big time defensive tackle. I'm telling you, he might be my favorite player of the game. Out of Ole Miss, the transfer from Texas A&M. Got to remember that. Avery Johnson, the quarterback out of Kansas State. Now, remember, he was a freshman last season, and he took over for Will Howard, who's now the quarterback at Ohio State. And he kind of took that job when Will Howard got hurt, and he's really kind of exploded onto the scene there at Kansas State. Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame, 4th on the list. And one time Wyatt got that boy moving. Every game we watch, it kind of feels like he didn't run him enough. But you look up, and he's right there in the Heisman race. And then, of course, you got Donovan Edwards, one of the top backs in the nation, out there running for the University of Michigan, really kind of carrying that offense right now. So Jeremiah, you tell me, what do you like about this top 5 and this Heisman? We got it's different. A couple defensive players at the top of the list. What's your opinion on that?
I love it. I think it's very interesting to see 2 defensive players leading the way. I do like that. I'm a defensive guy. You know, when I played back in the day, way back, I was a defensive guy. So, you know, D-line. So, you know, I like to see that. Now, I don't like to see Walter Nolan number 2 there. No bias. I would have Walter Nolan number 1, clearly. I mean, we see the guy from Texas playing lesser competition, using a lot of nano blitzes and stuff like that when he's getting those sacks and things. So I would have Walter Nolan a little higher. I mean, Uncle Sam's probably a better user anyway. So give it to the Ole Miss guy, man. He deserves it more than those bums down in Texas. Horns down.
Hey man, you know what? I'm going to chime in and all due respect to Texas. Again, the man's telling the truth, man. You playing nobodies right now. What are you doing? Why are you sitting up there right now, taking the top spot right now? No, you haven't earned it yet. But on the flip side, there's people out there who are playing horrible games, man. Notre Dame, that name's that Jeremiah Love's going to be dropping real quick. Shout out to Ole Miss. All right. Shout out to Michigan as well. I've played with Donovan Edwards. Edwards can go. So watch him bump up the ranks right now. That's what I'm going to say. So that's going to shift again. Again, it's early to say. Some people should be there. A lot of people shouldn't. So again, watch for the second show. You'll see a whole different list of people up there, except Donovan Edwards. He's my man right there.
Are y'all done with the blasphemy? Can I go now? All right, thank you. I appreciate
Just speaking facts.
I'm supposed to stats, so y'all know. So first of all, I don't run nano blitzes. I run dime on 3rd down. Yeah, I run dime cover 4 palms. Trey Moore has 9 sacks, 13 tackles for loss. I'll take that. I have no problem Nolan being at.
Can I stop you right there?
What?
Back in the day, old Premier, I think that's a sanction. But keep going.
Walter Nolan has 16 tackles for loss and 4 sacks from the DT position. That's actually impressive to get 4 sacks from the DT position. The last man I remember doing something like that in college, his last name was Sue, and that was a bad fucking man. That's the last DT I can remember that wrecked havoc. You know, that to where you game plan like, hey, both guards in the center, you're gonna block the one guy in the middle, and let's pray we block him. That's where Walter Nolan looks like right now. He's got 22 tackles, 16 for loss. 2 out of every 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. That's some shit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not fine. It's cool though, in a way. The old game never did this. You never see a defensive player in the Heisman. It was 5 running backs.
That's true.
Yep.
5 running backs with 40 touchdowns.
Straight running backs. Yeah.
Yep.
Willie every once in a while,
quarterback
in there, or Virgil will sneak a quarterback in there. That was it. So this is the good thing about it is I don't know if y'all noticed, it's very fluent. Because 2 weeks ago, Baxter from Texas was number 2, and now he's gone. It seems like it's almost a week-to-week kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a screenshot. I guarantee Moore's not there next week because I'm on a bye.
Yeah, let's
It
do that.
literally is fluent. It changes weekly. Because I've had a couple of guys on there. I had my backup running back there for a week, and now he's gone, and now Baxter's gone. But this is interesting. How this is going to end with the Heisman race, because we've never had one in this game. We really don't know.
No, I think you're right. We've definitely seen a number of people up here. To start the season, it looked completely different. I know we had Quinshawn Junkins up here, and I think Shador Sanders is on here. I think Carson Beck was on here. We've had a lot of different players on this top five list. And I think they kind of go by who's hot, who's playing really good. And you got to stay hot in order to stay on that list. I think Jeremiah Love may have been on here the longest. He's been as high as 1, and now he's at 4, and he's kind of trending down. So I think it can kind of go a lot of different ways. The nice thing, like you mentioned, Champ, we literally see 4 different positions: left end, D tackle, QB, and halfback. Like, that's historical for how this game has operated, So it's good to see that players from different positions can be acknowledged. And we got guys who putting up some numbers. So, like, Trey Moore, how many sacks does he have? Sorry, let's go take
9.
He has 9 sacks. And that's through how many games? 5 or 4?
5.
Okay. So that's less than 2 sacks a game, which is still good. Don't get it twisted, right? But there are guys. Let's take a real quick look at some stats here across the country. And there are some big numbers. So we look at the QBs alone, right? And we go to TD path. The quarterback at Georgia Tech, 19 TDs to 1 interception. He is putting up massive numbers, okay? Averaging 320 yards per game in the air. KJ Jefferson out of UCF, 343 yards, 11 TDs. Look at, this ratio. These QBs are playing at a high level. Running the ball, look like Jeremiah Love is leading the nation at 140 yards a game, 5 TDs. Donovan Edwards, who's on the list as well, as you can see, 100 yards a game, 10 TDs, but he's also catching the football as well, too. A lot of receiving yards for him. But if you look at the receivers, look at this. Javon Ivory, playing out at South Alabama.
Yep.
9 touchdowns per game, 9 total touchdowns and over 100 yards per game. And if you look at the yards per game, look at Zachariah Branch, y'all. Like, this is crazy. What he's doing out there at USC, old Ernie, he would have definitely caught the station 28 yards per catch. But
100%.
You know what I'm saying? 170 yards per game is crazy, and he's not even on the list. You know what I'm saying? So that just go to show that you really got to put on in order to be on that list. There's guys who's playing. Let's think it's a couple guys with some picks too. Let me look at the interceptions. Sack wise, so even looking at the defensive line, look at it. Philip Bleedy, the D tackle out of Auburn, he's got 7. He's got more sacks than both of those guys who are on the list. But it just goes to show those guys on the list are playing for the top ranked teams in the country, right? Which is what we've seen historically with the Heisman. The Heisman generally comes from a team that's ranked in the top 5 or playing for a championship, type of thing. Last year, Jaden Daniels won it out of LSU, but he has such a historical year. You could give it to a guy like him. But in most years, the Heisman is going to a team that's ranked number 1, 2, or 3, somewhere in that range. So I think that the Heisman race is very interesting. It's still early, a lot of ball to be played. So moving on, let's take a look at some coaches who are struggling to start this new season. And if we go here to coach stats here in the league, we can start by going to the job security. Yeah, let's start here, job security, which is definitely an easy way. And as you can see, I'll take my mouse. And you can see, fans, this little indicator right here shows us a user. So we're only going to really concentrate on users. So we have one user, one coach right now who's, off to a slow start. Great in week 1 against Ole Miss. And I think a lot of us really thought that, that this team could do some damage. But, after week 2, they won, but they've lost 3 in a row, and it's been tough. So Coach Primetime, he actually is on the show with us, Coach Sertox Prime. We'll get to you first, actually, because you are the first coach that we noticed is really struggling off to a 1-4 start, 16% job security. What do you do to bounce back? What's going on? Why is the team struggling?
No, hold on here. See, I gotta get character, man. See, because it's serious talk, man. Well, this is a great welcome back to the NCAA. My ass is on the line. He says I'm not playing like Coach Prime. So what I need to do is win goddamn games. That is it. All right. There's no sugarcoating it. The recruiting's not gonna do it. The Heisman rate. No, I gotta win games. That's it. That's it. So that's the mentality right now. Win out. Win out. That's what Coach Prime going to do right now. Win out. Out.
I hear you. You got to win out. 1-4. You know, it is what it is. You know, like I said in the chat, I'm listen, but we got to agree. Hope that he don't get fired, because I don't know where you go from Colorado. You know, I don't know what schools offer you.
You know what? You know what? If I can, even if I do get fired, I'm not out. I will be humbled, and I'll start on the ground up. If I need to go to the map, if I need to go to the Buffalo Bulls, I'll go to the Bulls and climb that mountain. All right. If I gotta go to Akron, I'll go. Listen, I will see progress. Small progress is still progress, gentlemen. All right.
Akron.
Hey. Listen, I know my skill level. I know my ceiling. I know the bottom floor. I know where I live. As they say out there, stay in your lane. And that's what I'm going to do. So the map, that's what we're going to do.
You in your lane, all right.
Damn right.
I'm on the highway to hell.
Yeah, he gonna be in the unemployment line fucking around at Colorado.
We did say we're guaranteeing 3-year natty, so you never know. We're still pushing that.
You did say that.
We still pushing that. Don't worry.
Let me give him a break
years.
though. Scroll back up. I'm gonna point out something very, very interesting. Scroll back up to him. I'm gonna give him a little break.
Okay.
Go back to Colorado there.
Yes, sir.
So if you look at his record there, you see he's 1-0 versus rivals.
Yes,
Two
sir.
of those losses have been top 25 teams.
They have.
Yes, sir.
So
Respect
it's been a rough go to start the season. Little tough schedule to start. So maybe he can turn around, push it back in the right direction.
You know, I agree 100% with you, D'Armond. Great analysis there. He beat Nebraska, right? That's a big rivalry win. And he lost to undefeated Ole Miss, and he lost to 5-1 Florida State. You can't. That's nothing to sniff at. Okay, and both of those games
was in the games, close games,
competitive. Had a chance, right? I think Florida State game threw a pick at the end. The Ole Miss game turned out to be a one-possession game. Excuse me. Both games competitive. Only one of these 4 losses kind of got away. You know, other than that, you can't be mad and say that Colorado's trash. That would be a lie. It's just they haven't gotten it done. So they haven't performed when they really, really needed to. When it was win time, they couldn't win. But moving on to the next coach in the league that's struggling, we got a couple. And here's the 3 that I would kind of talk about before we get to Miami. Because that's Coach Sid, Sid Dog, Big Dog, Coach Doghouse, the Doghouse Gaming over on Facebook. He struggled busing, and I never understand Sid when I'm watching. Never understand. Florida sitting there, you know, Coach 2-2. That's not too bad. Oklahoma 1-4. That's rough because the standards at Oklahoma we know are much higher. But the one that's the most concerning is Clemson. And we just watched Clemson play Florida State. We called that game right here on the Premier College Football Network, and they got doused in flames. It was 38-7. Yeah, 38-7.
38-14. You got that.
14. Excuse me, 38-14.
Yeah, he did get one. He did get one more.
38-14. And it was a beatdown. Okay. A lot of interceptions right to the defense. And it wasn't even about Clemson not playing good defense. They just turned it over so much, you don't have a chance. I think Florida State 2 pick sixes or a couple, you know. 1 pick 6, I know, maybe 2. It was a lot. It was so many picks. I don't know how many he scored on. But Florida State had a good game plan, and they're playing great ball all the way. Clemson is in trouble. Coach Deadbolt, 13-13.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And I mean, we mentioned the record versus top 25, but at some point you have to beat one of those top 25 teams, but because it only looks like, it only looks decent that you I mean, you're only going to take so many of those losses before it's like, oh man, you can't beat these top 25 teams, and you just got that stigma about you.
Yeah, and while we go through the Clemson thing real quickly, Champ, could you do me a favor? Could you pull up another go offline and see what the standard is at Clemson for me? I should have had that prepared, but I'll do that next time.
I'm guessing it's about 10 wins.
I'm gonna say it's playoffs.
The floor is 10 wins.
I think it's gonna say playoffs. Like he needs to make the playoffs in order to win, in order to keep that job. You're not making it. It's gonna be tough.
That's rough. That's rough.
We need to touch and agree that Deadbolt can keep this job, that the Lord may see fit to give him another year. 0-3 versus rivals. 0-3 versus top 25.
Ooh, the rivals is bad. That's bad.
The goal is to win the conference championship every year.
Mm.
Win conference championship.
That's out the window at 0-5, buddy. You looking like a dead bolt.
Let's take a look at it. Let me see how many. Let me just look at the schedule.
I kind of feel a bit better.
With, bro.
Says his alma mater is Texas, but we don't allow that over here. So he ain't gonna.
Yeah, how you feel about your classmate being such a terrible coach?
No. We don't.
I thought he was a Texas A&M fan too. I'm surprised he put Texas down there.
He's an A&M. I bet you he put Texas by accident.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so if you look at the schedule, the loss of Georgia, and that's accepted. And
Appalachian State.
Appalachian State is tough, bro. I want to say he was here.
State.
He was here for that one. That was his first.
Okay, so really, Deadbolt is 0-4. You can't lose to App State and NC State at home. I'm sorry, you can't do it.
You can't lose to App State, NC State, or Stanford.
Stanford won one game last year.
Stanford?
Jesus, take the wit. I ain't know he's
Stanford.
I got fired for winning one game last year.
Bro, Stanford, bro.
By 7. He keep losing these computer games by 7. It's gonna be tough. I feel
needs to win these next two.
That hurts.
The way he playing against the computer, now he go to Wake Forest 0-6. Host Virginia.
Yeah, you losing.
0-7. 0-8. He may not win. Listen, we might. How many games?
Oh, he's got the Pandas on there.
He gonna lose.
That's a loss.
No, the Pandas.
That's a big loss. That's a big loss.
Oh,
that's the Avengers right there. The Pandas. Damn.
Let me go. Okay, let's look at so really, those are the two coaches that's the most. I think Colorado and Clemson. Those two are struggling the most. Let me go to job security. Them the only two that's really, really down tough right now. And Colorado, like I said, you lost to 2 good users. Clemson, three computer losses. That can't happen. Not to those teams,
And 3 rival losses.
Not to those teams. Let me see. Anybody else kind of struggle busing?
Oklahoma.
Auburn, no, he knows. South Carolina, he hasn't played. He's missed a couple games. He moving. He going away to college. He moving. Lost for words. So it's really kind of hard to judge. One time it's turned it around, and so has Dalton. So, Nebraska, Notre Dame both turning it around. So I don't think there's really any issues there. So let's talk about real quickly before we get off of here, big games that we got coming up for next week. And we got 4. I think we got 5. 5
Before
games.
we do that, wait.
Yeah.
Can I make one more statement about the coaches?
For sure.
I'm very unbiased. As the LSU fan, I am officially calling for the firing of the LSU coach. That's all I have to say. Let's move on.
Cool, because he already resigned. Stupid, man. Big games coming up. Is that next week, week 7? We got some big ones. I think let's talk about that first one. Yes. We got number 4, Ohio State, traveling to Eugene to take on the number 7 Oregon Ducks. I'm telling you, I can hear what's his name's in my head right now. What's his name? What's the black announcer for Fox? Gus. I can hear Gus Johnson. They need him on this game. I can hear him calling that game. Because he does those Fox games. He fired. That's gonna be tough. That's us going out to play Zeus and the Oregon Ducks. That's gonna be a good one. 5 Penn State against number 20 USC. Boy, this gonna be one. We should be live there for that game. in the Coliseum. That's another big one. Both of these two games should be broadcast if we can. But it's a night game in the Coliseum. Listen, that's historical, right? We saw them play in the Rose Bowl a couple years ago, back in 2018, 17, 16, I think. Yeah, 16. Penn State versus USC. That's going to be a good one. Let me see. Go to the SEC, and we'll get to all of these. I'll let y'all give y'all opinion here in just 1 second. Texas, Oklahoma, Red River Shootout. That's always a good one. But, Oklahoma, they struggling. The luster ain't really what it would usually be. You know what I'm saying? South Carolina, Bama. If they can play that one, then that'll be good. That's going to be a test for South Carolina. Bama is stacked, as you know. Florida, Tennessee. Once again, that's another good matchup. Two good users. Novocaine balling undefeated 4-0. Guap, we know with Florida, he a Florida fan. He really take pride in them Gators. He 2-2. And he's capable. So that's good. That's an interesting game. We got some interesting games, and then we just got some big, nasty. Oh my gosh. I think the Big Ten next week is really going to be on display with Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, USC. So Sir Talk, let's start with you on this time, and then we'll go Jeremiah and Champ. Sir Talk, what do you think about next week's game? We got some big 5 user games, which love to get these games broadcast. Well, give me your opinion on what you think is going to happen in these games. Give me some predict. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Predict those winners. All 5 of those games.
Who you want to start with?
The list. Ohio State, Oregon. You can go right down the list.
Well, if you don't mind me starting,
Yeah,
I've seen Ohio State play, and that team with that skill, dangerous. I'm going to Ohio State for that big game. Penn State, USC, again, hard to play in USC, so I'm definitely going to give it USC there just because of the atmosphere. And again, I haven't seen enough to know skill-wise, but again, I believe that the home field advantage is a very, very huge thing when it comes to this game now. This year does a lot of things to the people when they're playing. So again, home field advantage is a thing. So watch for that. We got Texas. Again, you already saw Oklahoma. They ain't doing so well. So again, if Texas don't win that, you better just sign off. I'm just sign off. I'm putting it to you. If you do not win, sign off. Okay?
Never lost a Red River that man in 20 years.
I'm just letting you know. If you do, if it happens, sign off. That's all I'm going to say. All right. And of course, South Carolina, Bama. Bama been struggling, but again, it should be a good game. It should be a good game. That's a toss up. I can't really say who, but based on the ranking, we'll go Bama because they're, I think, ranked 19. So we'll go Bama with them. And then the last one, Florida versus Tennessee. Again, another toss-up. I don't know the game as much, but again, they're playing at home in Tennessee. So I'll go with Tennessee for the home field advantage. How about you guys? Go ahead.
All right. First up, Oregon and Ohio State. So I like Zeus. I mean, I like his game. I respect his game. He's gonna play conservative. He's gonna pass the ball, run the ball, do what he needs to do. He plays decent defense. But I mean, as we all seen, unbiased, it's just different in the den, dog. Man, hey, 28-point win for that damn dog.
What?
The Lions Den TV.
Chill, bro. You on some other shit. You trying to jinx. Ain't shit.
Gotta set the
Ain't
standard high.
shit. You trying to jinx. Just trying to
Penn
jinx.
State, USC. I mean, I like Penn State, but I watched 49er George game. I think he pulls that out. Close win. Penn State, very talented team, but something's just telling me USC's pulling that out. They got a lot of weapons. Red River rivalry. I mean, I'm horns down all day. I'm horns down. You know I'm horns down. But this is a yearly beatdown. I mean, we've seen this over and over. I think Texas beats the hell out of Tone. Another 28-point win. South Carolina, Bama. I haven't checked out Los yet. I seen one or two games. just out of experience and who I know, I'm gonna go with Coach Clay here. I think he's gonna finally turn his season around. It's an important game for him. I think he knows how important this game is. He's ranked. He don't want to lose to an unranked team right there. It's a spot where he needs to win. If he loses, his season's pretty much done. So I'm going Coach Clay. If you lose, I mean, you're done. Florida, Tennessee, you know, as I said in the first show we ever had, Casanova Kane, he's gonna throw a lot of picks. He's gonna throw plenty of them. You know, I'm not a Florida fan. I'm an LSU guy, so Florida is the last team I will ever cheer for. That stupid chomp, all that shit is dumb. But we know Nova, man, he gonna throw some picks. And I mess with Guapo, man. No bias. Guapo by 2 touchdowns.
Ooh, interesting. Champ, give us your opinion. Who you think will win these 5 games?
I'm gonna start from bottom up, actually. So I'm gonna take Tim to win at home. It's a Saturday night game. Neyland Stadium at night, 102 crazy fans. I'm gonna tell Tim to come out in the all blacks because I had him in Maine. Come out in the all blacks Saturday night. Let it be dark in that bitch and kill Florida. I got Tim. I played him a few times that y'all don't see offline. Tim knows what he's doing, man. He played this game in real life in college football, like some of y'all. He played college football, so he knows what he's doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tim makes the SEC championship.
Sounds like you're a fan of the real UT.
Ooh.
The Bama game, I'm taking Bama 14 plus, and this is why. It's a road game for South Carolina. If he gets down early, that crowd's gonna mess with his quarterback. I just think they're too talented. And like I said, if Jay Clay gets the ball first or get the first stop, put 7 up, 14 up, the screen's gonna be shaking, quarterback's gonna be jiggling. And I just don't see South Carolina with that much talent. I don't. Bama's really stacked defensively to stop that. We're not going to talk about Texas, Oklahoma. I'll let my on the field talk for that one. Penn State, USC. I'm going with DR Mon. I think 49er George slowly, especially with that comeback versus Michigan, down 14 with like 3-4 minutes left in the game. He knows what he's doing. He knows that team in and out. I just feel that he's going to be that one coach, take my words at the end of the year, that's going to creep close to the playoffs that no one probably thought would be in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Especially being in the Big Ten. He's still got to play some other user games. Just watch. If he gets by this one, he could be, well, he'll be there at the end of the season. And then Oregon, Ohio State. So we've seen this in a different kind of rivalry. It was Ohio State, Michigan for years in the old game. It's going to be the first real road test for Ohio State. It's only 40-some thousand, but it's going to be wild. It's going to be loud. I can't see because it's not on there, but I don't know if it's a night game or a day game. If it's a night game, could be a little different the way Willie says. I'm going to go with Ohio State squeaking an out one.
Squeaking.
And this is the reason why. Diarmond did put it. Zeus is no bum. You know, he played pretty good against Ole Miss, who's undefeated. He won his other CPU game. He didn't get to play the last one because he was busy. But he knows Willie enough. They've played like me and Tone 20, 30 times. It's not going to be nothing different. It's just on a different game. Even though Willie would kind of, dominate him the way I dominated Tone. But I just feel like this might be one of those ones where it's going to be close. I don't think Ohio State just rolls up in there. Now, if he does it, it wouldn't surprise me. And I think Diarmond, you're the same boat, right? If that one turns into a 42-14 game, it wouldn't surprise us. I just don't think it is. I don't think Zeus is going to allow that. So those are my picks. That's how I feel about it.
No, those are great picks, y'all. And I don't think anything was crazy. Diarmond said something crazy, but other than that, and I kind of agree. Florida, Tennessee. I like Tennessee at home. Tim is playing real good. He throw the ball a lot. He will turn it over a time or two. Guap play more conservative. He gonna possess the ball. Big style clash in that game. Bama should roll over South Carolina. Texas should roll over OU. Penn State,
Easy.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm taking USC. I just like the way Georgia's playing. Ohio State, Oregon, it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle. I do not expect to just walk all over Zeus, especially not in Eugene. No chance. The crowd, the crowd gonna be into it. It is an earlier kickoff, I believe. I think it's big noon, right? Let me take a look. I think it's big. It is big noon.
I'm sure it's big noon.
Yeah, it's big noon. It's 3:30 actually, but it's gonna be that crowd gonna be into the game. I'm not gonna be able to really audible, so you got to go get to the line and know it. That's the thing about playing on the road, big games. You have to know all your routes before the play, because if you go to the line and trying to hit R2 to look, you're done. Because it's hard to see. So, and I know Zeus can play. Zeus is not a bum. I'm looking in, and UCLA is thumbtacking the Penn State Nittany Lions in Happy Valley right now. So,
yeah, I was watching that as well.
24/7, third quarter. But anyways, I think it's gonna be a dog fight. I mean, obviously, I want to win a game. It could go either way. But I'm not knocking. I don't take nothing away from Zeus. I love Zeus. That's my dog. So it's gonna be a dog fight. It's gonna be a fun game too. We done played a lot. We done had a lot of close ones too. So should be good. I don't have no prediction because I'm the one playing. So only thing is I predict is pull up in that Lions den and see how different it is that night. So
Different in the den.
yeah, it's gonna be different. So other than that, man, I appreciate y'all. This was a great show. We went a little bit over. We had 50 minutes, but we got 10 more minutes. Let's call it an hour. Let's go 10 more minutes and let's talk real quickly. We'll hit this and maybe we can content y'all. Sir Tox, if you want to cut any of this. Let's talk about the recruiting real quickly. We can kind of take a quick look at which teams are recruiting the best, and let's just get right to it. Number one.
Show us that board real quick. Whoa, go back. I need to see those bottom five because those are the guys that got added this week. Those bottom
you
five.
don't need to see all that. You just need to focus on this recruit, the top 25 recruiting. Look at the users. So one, Ohio State. Just the class is a little historical right now. 13 total recruits, 7 5-stars. This is insane. 6 4s, and then you got Bama right behind them. And listen, Bama is not out of the race for having a top class in the country. Even though I got all those 5-stars, they got a lot of 4s, and they right there in the mix. Georgia, of course, they're gonna do what they do. Texas is starting to really kind of heat up in the recruiting thing as well too. And then Michigan, who I was kind of critical of the other day, saying Michigan, they letting some good players get by. Well, they making some good ground up on some good players, and now here they are, number 6. They got a chance to creep up into that top 5. So those are the users in the top 5 area, and then you got Florida coming in at 16, Ole Miss at 18, and
Actually, I got a question for the commish.
Go ahead.
How many of your recruits were instant commits?
4. So we have 4. Yeah.
Okay.
We have 4 instant commits in the first in preseason, right?
Okay.
And they were actually the 3 lowest rated players on the board. So it was this guy, Bradley McChesney.
Okay.
Him. It was Ethan Skaggs, a running back. And it was Alex Cook, another running back. And then it was this 5-star tight end, Jarius Mechie, who y'all saw in the video. So we have 4 instant commits in the preseason. We got these couple low-rated guys, and ever since then, we kind of been cooking. And this past week, we landed the number 1 player in the country, Mike Fine, receiver out of Colorado. So this is the one I wanted to ask. Coach, how did you let this man get out of the state of Colorado?
Hey, again, you have the Ohio State University. I'm just Colorado. Just because he's close by doesn't mean he wants to come here. You know how much people that live in Colorado that want to go to Michigan? You know how much people in Colorado that want to go to freaking Texas? You know how much people that want to go to LSU? Prestige brings stars to your program. So, as I stated before, I got to win some goddamn games to bring up my prestige. That's all. That's all. It's plain and simple, man. I got to win games.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. So let me see if you can see it.
I mean, you can check my board if you want. Shoot.
No, I don't want to see a board. No, I'm just looking for his. So one thing that I don't have when it comes to this recruit, and I did not have, is I had zero pipeline. Okay, so I had no advantage when it came to this player in particular. Now, he had me number 1 or 2 on his board to start. Texas was up there too. So it was actually me and Texas. I think we may have been the top 2. And we talked about
Nebraska, Penn State.
Okay. So we knew what it was. But I had zero pipeline. Texas, I don't think you had no pipeline either. But one thing that we do know is if you have first of all, any pipeline, especially level 5, if you got a level 5 pipeline, I'm gonna tell you right now, you could have got this player.
Okay,
you didn't know it.
Okay, again, I'm new back to this game, and I originally am trying to pick up guys who want to come here, right? The interest is there. So whether it's 3, 2, even 1, because again, I'm gonna have a few guys that's gonna leave. I know I'm not gonna be at the top tier. I want to guarantee some people before I go shooting for the stars. So I wanted to get those guys first. So when I secure those guys, then I got some in the bag. Then I go shoot for some 4 or 5 stars that are not in the reach, but are in the pipeline. So I usually go need first and interest. Then I go pipeline. Because again,
that's interesting. Can I step in and say something?
Most definitely. Go ahead.
So my strategy when I used to recruit, I would I do the same thing you just said. I'm going and sorting by the interest first, but I'm only getting the 4 and 5 stars that are interested. And then I'm gonna go to my pipeline state, like he's saying, and I'm going and getting all those top players and filling out the rest of it.
Okay.
And just trying to get those guys. Just a little
I like it. I like
advice.
it. No, so, I like it. I like it.
So
I'm learning.
So the reason
especially if it's a number 1 player in the nation, number 1 player in your state and all that. Yeah, I would definitely be putting points on that guy.
Yeah,
no
so
matter if I'm on this list or not.
Yeah, so that's the only reason why I asked is because if you did have a pipeline on him, then it doesn't, like, all the prestige stuff don't matter, right? Throw that out the window. The only thing that matters is that pipeline and those 3 green checks. Okay. And his 3 green checks are brand exposure, championship contender, and playing time. So your championship contender probably wouldn't have been an A+.
But
brand exposure, your brand exposure could have been, I don't know what it is, but something decent. Playing time for you likely still would have, mine is A+, and I don't know how because we loaded, but nonetheless, I think it may go by need because I think it told me I needed 3 receivers, so something like that, right? Okay. So the opportunity is there for him. If you would have just had any type of A's in any of those 3, plus that pipeline of the whatever the pipeline is, especially if it's a 5, because he in state, you probably would have had a 5. He was yours no matter what. Period.
Good to know. No, that's good to know.
I gave a nugget.
That's a nugget. Yeah, okay? You gave me a nugget.
I got 7 5 stars on my team right now, and I could tell you right now, I'm gonna probably get a couple more, but a few of these guys I got because everybody else was scared, and they didn't even need to be scared.
Hey, that's another thing I was gonna say too. I didn't pay attention to the top schools at all. I don't care if I'm on your list of top schools because I can build my way up there. I'm gonna focus on those guys that are already interested, the 3 stars and stuff to fill out my roster. Late season, they're gonna be there. I ain't gonna wait for the number 1 player in the country. He's gonna be committed week 6, week 7.
Yeah, but I just wanted to give that to Coach because I noticed it, and I remembered like a couple weeks ago, I'm looking like, I don't have no pipeline on this guy. Technically, there's no way I should have got him because I ain't got no pipeline. If you got a pink pipeline, that's level 5. What's the gold for the silvers or 2 or 3, whatever. If you got a level 5 pipeline and you get some A's in any of those 3 categories, it's gonna be tough to beat you. Now, when you got a player like in Florida, and you talking about all the Florida schools are going after him, those are just good luck. Same thing with Texas and California, right? Those players where there's other big schools around that's hunting. You keep in mind, Florida, like Ohio State got some pipeline in Florida. So we can go in there and battle with Florida, Florida State, Miami, just as tough as anybody else. You know, Bama can, Texas can. I'm sure Texas, you probably got some level 5 pipeline in Florida too. Probably not every city in Florida because it goes by city. Okay. So that's another thing. If you consider the city that you going into, anytime you see that your pipeline is pink, you have a great opportunity. So if yours is pink and everybody else's is lower, you got a great opportunity, especially with these caliber of programs. Because to be honest, all of these programs are still all really similar. A lot of people have been saying, well, it's Ohio State. Well, I can tell you right now, if you use my approach with Bama, Texas, Michigan, we would all be doing.
If I was at LSU, I would be right up there with him right now. I'll let you know that right now. I'll be right there.
It's true because I've done the same thing in YS League, in my own league. I got Florida; they got the number 2 class. So you just have to apply the knowledge of the pipeline and knowing like, okay, that guy, I got that pipeline. I know I can get him, and seeing how close you are to every. Like if you way far back, you probably not gonna catch up. But like if you neck and neck with a guy and you got the level 5 pipeline, if you do everything correctly, I'm not giving them more nuggets. If you do everything else correctly, you can still you can overtake that team and get that guy. Okay?
Gotcha.
Florida State said FSU may only have one commit right now, but I had a few visits for the game tonight, so I feel we'll move up the board in a bit in advance. You probably let me see. Florida State.
That was interesting. That was interesting to bring up because I was gonna say the one thing I noticed looking at this, for Florida to be such a talent-rich state, none of the Florida schools are recruiting well.
No,
it's like you guys are poaching all the talent. You got Florida doing decent, but I mean, 1 4-star, that's not good for you in Florida.
You know, I think that's interesting. Let's take a look at Bama's class real quick and see how many players, like where did most of their players come? They got 1. They got the number
2, 3, 4, 5.
So Bama got the number 1 player in the state of Florida, Clyde Diller, defensive end out of Fort Lauderdale. Then look, 2, 3,
number
4. Sheesh, Bama's down in Florida just eating all their damn snacks. Okay.
Wow.
They got a lot of.
I would not be surprised when Jay Clay took over as the coach. He changed the pipeline to Florida.
I was gonna say. I mean, if he did that, then
he got 3 of the top 10 players in Florida. That's not a good look. It's not a good look for the Florida schools. If you Florida State or you Florida right now, you're hurting.
You're hurting Texas, but we let that one slide.
Texas, I mean, he's not a top 10 player in the state. He's number 1 in his position, though. So I mean, it hurts, but you want to get the top 10 players in your state. You want to lock down your state.
You want to lock down your state. You 100% correct about that. Let's take a look at Texas. They got 8 players in their class already, and as you can see, hold on, that's not Texas. Here's Texas.
My goal at LSU, I want to get as many as the top 10 players in Louisiana as I can.
So as you can see, okay, here we go again. So Texas has a receiver right here in the state of Colorado. That's 2 good receivers in the state of Colorado that the Colorado coach he didn't try those, right? But if you got that pipeline, I promise you could have beat out Texas. You only need 3 greens. You don't have to be fire all the way across the board. The good thing about some of these programs, they got A's across the board. All you need is 3 good A's. And some of those A's are not relative to how good your school are. It's proximity to home ain't got nothing to do with how good you are. It's got to do with how close you are, right?
Yeah.
Playing time ain't got nothing to do with how good you are. It's about how many players are at that position. Playing style has something to do with how good you perform in certain stats.
Yeah.
So if it's a QB, they're gonna want to see the passing yards high. So if you got good passing yards, top 10 in passing yards, well, now you're gonna have an A+ in passing. So now proximity to home, playing style, and let's say playing time, that's 3 A's. And you got the level 5, you have a very good chance to get that player if you do all the other stuff correctly.
Okay. So
that's how I look at it. So that's why it's not always about how good your team is, because shit, it don't matter. Like playing, like proximity to home has nothing to do with that. But Texas is dominating the state of Texas right now, as you can see. Being what's this, Napolitano, you know, receiver.
Is that Colorado again too? Did I miss another 4-star?
Number 1 player in this state. Number 1 player in this state.
No,
look, that's the number 2 player in Colorado.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
The second receiver.
Second one.
That's what I was talking about the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
But I came up here to this guy like, so now I'm talking about how he dominating Texas, right? He got the top, just the number one player in the state. Actually, number one player in the state, wide receiver, 5-star receiver. Okay. And then here we go, Derek Rowe, another receiver, Texas, D tackle, Texas. So he taking care of his business. Is Arizona a pipeline too for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Arizona, Colorado, and Texas are my pipelines.
Okay, so he got some stuff going on in Arizona. I don't think Mesa is a pipeline, but Eric Gugliano, he got a couple players already from Arizona. So you can kind of see how regionally based this game is. Let me show you one more. I'll show you Ohio State's class and like how regional it is.
Okay.
Look at Ohio State. Look at all them players from Ohio.
Yeah, I see
Ohio, I think four, five. There's 5, and I'm telling you right now on my board, there's like 3 or 4 more. Okay. But then here's the Colorado guy, Pennsylvania.
May I interject? So again, I'm just going by what you're saying now. I have the pipeline. He's in my state. Whether 5-star, 4-star, whatever. If I hit his needs, I should have a very good chance of getting this man.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I'm only saying this because we're bringing up that discussion we were talking about in the chat. How recruiting is certain teams favor and whatnot. And you're telling me now, me, little Colorado, who's not winning games, if I recruited in the proper way or system, I could have got a 5-star man. Okay, let it be known, 100%. Coaches. Let it be known, coaches. It is not rocket science.
One last nugget for me. You have to take advantage of the talent in your state year by year too. You're not always going to have a top 10 guy in a quarterback position every year in your state. So you got top 10 guys in your state right now. You want to go get those guys while you get them, because next year it's not guaranteed that you're going to have those guys in your state. You're glad the Colorado class next year could be full of 3-stars. So you got to take advantage of it while it's there.
Yeah, I agree.
Your top 2 players in your state were a 5- and 4-star receiver.
Yes.
And I know the speed on both of them. And believe me, when you see them, it's going to be like, woof.
Well, I just showed them. Mine had 95.
Yeah, I was going to say I saw them. But now the thing is here, I only question this because I have guys there already. So if they're not playing, that transfer portal is going to be opening that door real quick. I have, again, based on your skill and your play level and your record, guys might leave you.
My advice for you for that, I would say while recruiting, worry about that transfer shit later, man. Let's just get them on campus first.
Let me share a little.
That would be what I would do. I wouldn't worry about who's gonna be possibly leaving until I got them in the building.
Gotcha.
Listen, I'm gonna share one nugget. Okay. Don't worry about transfers at all. The only way they transfer is only one thing that causes a transfer. Do you know what that is?
No.
Deal breaker.
Okay.
Yes. If they don't hit the deal breaker, they will not transfer.
Okay.
Period. And how do we know that? Go to this. This is how you look at it. Go to recruiting, and then go to my prospect list. No, my school. There it is, my school. Okay. This is the screen where it tells you which players. It would be right here under playing style. See where it says players at risk?
Yeah.
There's nobody there. And it's not because I'm winning. It's not because players play. I got guys who haven't touched the field. It's all about the deal breaker. And for when you get here, what is the deal breaker? Generally, it's playing style. So if you have a player, let's say I have a quarterback and the quarterback is goes, you see how it says passing yards per game, impact very high. Well, if my passing yards per game will say 115, then the quarterback would be up here lit up. Okay. But because it says I'm at 423, you look at the top right of the screen where it says top schools, A+, right? So I have an A+ in play style for field general QBs. And it's like this for every single archetype.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense too.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, like, let's say you got a defensive end who's a speed rusher already on your team.
Right.
He's like, well, you say, well, is he at risk of transferring? No, because I'm at a B plus. Why? Because we got 11 sacks. Sacks is how they determine if a defensive end that's a speed rusher wants to transfer as a result of playing style.
Right.
Okay. Other things that can any one of these. So now let's one last little nugget. Looking at where it says not scouting, recruiting. See over here to the right side where it says motivation. Those are all of the things that the players are good at, or care about. Right? Those 14 different options.
Right.
Every player has one deal breaker in that list. If you hit that deal breaker, that's when they will transfer.
Gotcha.
The only one that changes during a season is play style.
Right.
Okay. Now, coach prestige is one actually that can change. So let's say that the player's coach prestige is a deal breaker, and he like, hey, you need to be at least a B minus. I think that's what the deal breakers usually say, at B minus. And you start losing games. Well, go to yours right now and look to see what it is. I promise you, you may have a player that his deal breaker is coach prestige, and yours may be under a B minus right now. And if it is, because I think you might be a B plus, then you will see that he's going to probably be ready to leave you.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? And there's a risk at transfer. So a lot of these don't change during the season. Academics doesn't change during the season. Athletic facility, brand exposure, campus life, championship. Now, coach stability can change. Coach prestige can change. Conference prestige doesn't really change.
No,
playing time. Yeah, playing time. It doesn't change throughout the season. Pro potential doesn't change. Play style, definitely, that's the most important one. Proximity to home doesn't change. Program tradition doesn't change. Stadium atmosphere doesn't. Those things do not change throughout the season. They change after the season.
Gotcha.
So after the season is over, you will get a new grade based off of if your team, how your team played the season before. Is it going to change drastically? Probably not. It's going to probably be an incremental change up and down based off of how, like, so if you went 0-12, it might change quite a bit. You go 12-0, it's going to change for the good. Different ones. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Those are the keys. Those are a lot of little nuggets for anybody who may not know that. Just
don't overthink your recruiting, man. Just don't overthink it.
Yeah, well, you can't underthink it too, because there's a lot more to think about. Like,
for sure.
The strategy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might want to focus. Like, if I'm Colorado, let me look at. I'm starting with the state of Colorado. Start with my pipelines, especially my state. Let me lock down Colorado.
Yeah, that's what I always do first. I'm doing my state and the guys who are interested.
You know, just to. But I wanted to add a recruiting conversation, really, just to kind of look at it. But so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take a big wild turn like that.
Hey, it's needed. It's needed. A lot of people are going to be starting to think, why am I not getting this person? Or why am I not getting that person? Now you've broken it down to a science where it makes sense. So again, now a person like myself who's jumping in way back from 14 that I didn't play as much, I understand it now. So now I can definitely maybe not this season. I mean, it's still young, so I can definitely change my thought process of how to recruit. But looking forward to the next season, I know what to shoot for.
So one thing I'm looking at, I see Ohio State, Texas jumped on the top two players in the state of Colorado. That is not a surprise. You talking about two people who've been doing this for years, and this game is different. It's some stuff that's very similar to 14, like those 14 different deal breakers. That stuff all been in the game. That's not new.
Yeah,
but like learning how the recruiting engine works and how pipelines work, all of that, that's all new. And that's the stuff that we've been sitting down and learning and figuring out. But if I'm the coach of Colorado or any coach at this point in this league or whatever, right, any state, come to your state first and let me see if I can lock it down. Because you look at the pipe, you see how I don't have no pipelines in Colorado. I shouldn't really be able to get anybody in Colorado, to be honest.
No.
Only way I'm gonna get him is if I know nobody else is going after him. Or
if the college is supposed to get him, it's slacking. That's the only way he's gonna get him.
And I was so far ahead. Like Nebraska had like a level 2 pipeline in Colorado. But I was so far ahead he couldn't catch up. Because by the time he started to really recruit him, it was too late. And I knew he couldn't catch me. You know what I'm saying? So That's how you got to look. But I don't know if these are your pipelines because I'm not looking at your thing. You probably could have gotten both, but you would have needed to start in preseason by putting them on your board. You couldn't start in week 3. You got to start off rip because you would have had to play catch up. I mean, this is the number 1 player. We all looking at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so anyways, that's good, man. Listen, now I gave you some nuggets. You can go out there and go crazy next season and kind of have another approach to it. And no, don't worry about them players transferring. They ain't going nowhere. You good.
Hey, if anybody need help saving their class, keep it discreet. Pay me a little $10. You know, we can get on a little Discord call.
He's stupid as
hell.
Pay me $10. He ain't got the game, my baby.
We can negotiate. It ain't even got to be 10. You know, we can negotiate.
You're a fool, man. But
I'll save your class. I'm telling you. And I'll give you the money back if it don't save it.
We went a little. I appreciate y'all tapping in to the tailgate. This is our first show of the season. To give y'all a little recap on what we're doing. Appreciate all the support for the premier college football brand, the network. We do got bigger things coming up. But our first goal is to continue to have a good first season. Thank you to these great content creators, Texas TV, Big Cat Jeremiah, and Sertos, for lending us their time tonight to help us make this content. We will catch y'all with the next show. We'll have that probably coming up in the next couple of weeks, but make sure you stay tuned because we do have more games being broadcast here over the next couple of days. We just gave you the rundown of those big user games that we got coming up, so be on the lookout so that we can get them games out there to y'all. And till then, man, y'all enjoy the weekend. We up out of here. Y'all know the vibe. Peace.